I'm an old Rite Orthodox Christian living in my log cabin on the bank of the Amber in North America's farthest west highway point. I'm in the open by Marina Biryokova. What are you going to do there now in this village of yours? Mud, slush, and cold. A colleague from the city asked me in late autumn when I was hastily arranging remote work and packing my backpack. How and what do you do? Do you know what a flying apricot in the middle of your yard is? Yesterday there were leaves on it, but today there are no longer any at all. A small tree is blackening against the background of a carpet of its own foliage, yellow which has not yet lost its delicate red blush. Cold drops tremble down on thin twigs, and a mysterious pattern shimmers in each. The reflection of the crown, the drop was knocked down by a titmouse. It sat down on a twig. She turned back and forth a little, looked around and anxiously shadowed, as if asking somehow I, a bird, will survive the winter? Will I find food? Will people help me? Last winter they helped. And when you notice two yellow apricot leaves on the rug in the hallway, they stick to your feet and came with you into the house. And you pick these leaves up and return them to their place under the mother tree. And it also happens like this. After a prolonged, persistent autumn rain, the sun comes out and the puddles of the broken road reflect the sky. The road seems to see multi-eyed, and you walk along it from eye to eye, farther and farther, and you don't want to turn back to home. The sky is above you, and you see in it its eternity, everything. Can you see it in the city? In the city you see only a patch of sky, and here, all the clouds at once, how many of them? They swim, quickly changing their outlines. I just wanted to take a picture of a jumping dog, but it is more like a camel that stretches out into a whale. The old trees of the step block along the road look like Gethsemane olives. Their trunks are covered with bright, moist moss. On the top of one of them sits a large reddish predator, most likely a harrier. The sun is going down, the days are short, and you finally turn to the house and see that all the puddles have become different. They play with a pearlescent pink glow. Does the city have this? Here, and you say what to do in the countryside in late autumn. Someone perhaps thinks that there's nothing to do here in the early spring. Spring is in no hurry at the beginning of March. The days are cloudy plus 1 or 2 degrees. The snow settles, changing color, becoming grayish, yellow, and matte. On the roads, a porridge of water, snow, and fragments of night ice is squelching. The ice on the pond is still reliable. Dead light yellow reeds shudder in the wind. A dilapidated fence is blackening. Behind it is a mop of golden straw and a dirty white shed made of large cubes of shell rock. Sheep are screaming in the barn. I remember this ancient longing call from childhood. The next fence is newer, painted, with geese chattering behind it. They know that it is spring, and it is not the weather that tells them about it, but the growing daylight hours. And the roosters perceive this whole day as a big morning. They scream and scream, maybe just rejoicing in the light. The light is scattered by clouds, but the ultraviolet is apparently frenzied, even in the gloom without protective glasses that hurts the eyes. And the sun breaks through. What warmth you feel immediately, living warmth in which the heat of the next summer is already now. There's no such thing in the city. In the city, early spring is a natural disaster. Avalanches of snow and ice from uncleaned roofs, scraps of stripped ribbons, flooded pavements, fans of dirty splashes from under the wheels. Just have time to dodge, of course. In the city, you can feel the sun, notice swollen buds and anxious crowns in the park, but these are crumbs that need to be looked for, and in the village, it is just all around. In the village, spring is spring, just as winter is winter, autumn is autumn, morning is morning. I like to leave the house at 5 a.m. In summer and winter and spring, in March at 5, it's still dark and quiet. Even the most restless dogs sleep, and the drops froze. It does not knock. -1, there are no stars in sight. The moon, heavy, smoky red, and complete, stands low above the western horizon. The light from the open door falls on the settled snowdrift, gray ice and metal melted tiles of the path. And in the silence, somewhere in the distance, on what seems to be the street, the first elector exclaims, and the second responds to him. Behind our garden and pond, it's not even dawn yet, but on the secret inner birdwalkers, the hour has struck, and it has begun. In the village, the earth is the earth, the sky is the sky, life is life. Two old men meet in the village store. One of them, it turns out, found an old album with photographs somewhere in the chest yesterday. Our group is in the kindergarten. Can you imagine? We sit on chairs. I had a brown jacket with a zipper. I remember. Next to me is Galka Petrova, a dead woman with a bow on her head. Are you sitting? Your pants are on straps with buttons, and Anna Vasilievna, do you remember her with us? And the Christmas tree is still there, and you were on the Christmas tree, a rhyme or something saying something. I'll come to you and show you. I have photos of how we have already gone to school, but there are no kindergarten ones. Maybe there were, but they disappeared somewhere. I don't remember. Look for them. I didn't know I had them either. The old people are in no hurry, although they remember why they came to the store. In the village, no one is in a hurry at all. When I return from the city to the village, I'm surprised at how much time I have spent there. Everything can be done without haste, to do work, to clean the house and cook dinner and finish reading a book, and just wander around and breathe the air and to feel that you are alive. Why is there such a difference? Firstly, there is no bustle of the city and the village, which takes away our time, keeps us in suspense, and does not allow us to feel life. And secondly, in rural areas, time is united with space, located in the open space. Seeing the sky above him and the earth around him, a person perceives differently the minute, the hour, and the day that he is now living. In the city, my task is to use my hour or day rationally for the benefit of my business. Of course, I always have enough things to do. And in the village, I suddenly have another concern. How can I really live this hour or day? Truly means with joy, with gratitude, accepting to the end after all. There will be no second such day or hour. A photo from a chest or from the archive of a social network will remind you of a long time ago, but will not return you to it. The city teaches you to value time. Rural freedom teaches time to love. And to love means to be grateful for it. If the village is native, then it is always a cemetery, not the urban, boundless, and indifferent one, where you will be given a place like thousands of others, where it will be difficult to find you later, but precisely yours, ours, generic, not accidental. The ancient Hebrews said of the deceased, he was added to his lineage. I was given the opportunity to venerate the obvious, because my great grandfather and great grandmother, two grandfathers, two grandmothers, and parents are now in our village cemetery, and also an aunt, an uncle, two cousins, and two great uncles, and also the neighbors of my childhood, school teachers, my parents, comrades at work on the state farm, and one classmate, and three of my classmates are also already there in our brackish loam. Of course, I would like to live longer on earth, but even if you live for more than 100 years, your earthly term will still pass one day, and when it passes, its duration will lose its meaning. You need to live not a term, but a day, of course. This wisdom is wisdom for the city as well, but in the village, it's incomparably easier to learn, one might say. It comes to me on its own. My rural day is different from the city in that indeed, it was a day. It is autumn, winter, spring. One archimandrite I remember told me, you can be saved anywhere, but it is more convenient to do it in a monastery. There are things that are more convenient, easier, faster to learn, not in the city, but here, where a person sees the whole sky. For some city dwellers, the village is replaced by a dasha, and someone does not even have a dasha, but there's a balcony, and right in front of it is an old birch. A person sees this birch in different ways, golden frosted, decorated with catkins, and mixed with the sun with June foliage. This is also happiness, but how happy are those who can live for a long time among their native birches, poplars, maples, pines? or the trees of the steppe block, so similar to the olives of the Garden of Gethsemane. Marina Biryakova, March 11th, 2026. Good to see you, brothers and sisters. Just a quick read before I go to bed. I suppose that I could read for you also the ascetical homilies of St. Isaac the Syrian. So, homily 12. This is a really quick one. It's only 2 pages. That the servant of God who has stripped himself of the same things of the world and has come forth in his quest of him must never, because he has not attained to a sure apprehension of the truth, cease from his quest for fear of this, and grow cold in that ardor which is born of love for things divine and of searching out their mysteries, and on how the mind is confounded by the memory of the passions. The stages through which man advances are 3: the beginner's stage, the intermediate, and that of the perfect. In the first stage, all a man's thinking and recollection is held within the passions, even if his mind is directed toward good. The second is a kind of midway laid between passion and dispassion. Both thoughts from the right hand and those from the left move equally within him, and light and darkness never cease from welling forth, as has already been said. But if he should desist for a little from continuous reading of spiritual writings and from the forming of vivid conceptions of divine subjects, which, when he muses upon them, set him aflame by their modes of truth according to his capacity, and should he cease as well from his outward watchfulness, from which come both inner watchfulness and proficient work, then he is certain to be swept away into the passions. He should therefore feed his natural ardor in ways I have said, and should not leave his quest and search and yearning after those things which are afar off, even though he has never seen them, but only the indications of them found in his reading of the divine scriptures. By these things he should nourish his thoughts, holding them close lest they incline to the left. He should be careful not to accept some devilish seed of fantasy in the guise of truth, and should ardently watch over his soul. Then if he does these things, and if he asks God with arduous prayer and patience, he will grant them his petition and open his door to him, but chiefly for his humility's sake. For mysteries are revealed to the humble. But if he dies in this hope, even if he has nowhere seen the land from close at hand, nevertheless it seems to me that his inheritance will be those righteous men of old, who hope to reach perfection even though they never saw it, as the apostolic utterance says, for they labored in hope all their days and they slept. Otherwise, what should we say if such a man were not to gain entry to the land of promise, which is the stage of perfection, that is, lucid comprehension of the truth according to the measure of his natural capacity? Is he then barred from it on that account, and does he remain in the lowest stage, where the entire disposition is inclined towards things of the left? Or because he has not apprehended the whole truth, shall he then continue in the ignobleness of the lowest stage, which has no cognizance of, nor any desire for these things? Or is it fitting that he should be raised to the middle stage, which I have mentioned? For even though he has never beheld it, not even through a mirror, still hoped from afar, and through this hope was added to his fathers. And although he was not deemed worthy of perfect grace while here, nevertheless, because he was always conversant with it, and with all his understanding he always absorbed himself in it, and because of his desire was fixed upon it as long as he was alive, he was able to cut off evil thoughts. And so his heart being filled with God, he departed from life with this hope. Anything whatsoever possessing humility is of its nature comely, for the incorporeal meditation of the understanding on the love of God, which meditation is guided by the understanding of the divine scriptures, screens the soul from within against evil thoughts. And further, it holds the mind in the remembrance of good things to come, lest the mind in its idleness should be diffused amid recollections of worldly things. and by these the fervor of its movement should be chilled, and it should fall into desires. But to our God be glory, amen. Thanks for joining me, brothers and sisters. God bless you all, and Lord willing, I'll see you again on the next one. Good night, and God bless.